So welcome back to part 2 of this video, how this army is played. So, with these strengths and weaknesses, how do you play it? Well, this army is best in combat, as it's heavily combat-based with powerful heroes, Iron Hills dwarves because they're just amazing, as well as lance-wielding elves with elvish blades. They're just great in combat. It's worth noting that while they can shoot behind the blinding light, shooting isn't really where you need to be, so you do have to play around this and be aware that your opponent might not have to come to you. And this is a big problem with an army so small. If your opponent doesn't come to you, you can be put in a really bad position, outflanked and surrounded. It's not good and it's not fun. This is one place where you have to have your heroes. Your heroes are often going to be on the flanks, killing their troops or heroes that try to outflank you, because otherwise you're going to find that you're getting surrounded, and surrounded dwarves is how they die. So yeah, it's very important to know how to play a solid army. By solid, I don't mean like amazing, though I do think this is a very good army, so I'll say it's solid in both senses. But it's very much kind of sedentary with the exception of the Rivendell Knights. That's why they are so important. They are your mobility. They are how you get around the battlefield and get to different objectives. Once you lose them, you lose your mobility. However, your combat force is just so steady and tough, it just can't really be broken. So the way you play this, you hold your dwarves together. They must be held together. You put your heroes on your flanks, Galadriel behind the main line, push forward and get in a strong position. Use your knights to maneuver around, take a few pot shots, get objectives, depending on the scenario, and just harass the enemy, kill key targets, and whatnot. The heroes, they just hit the enemy on where they are coming over your flanks. If you can get in an area where you don't really have any flanks to take over, make sure your heroes are still in combat. They should get in. Galadriel should be in combat, so when you're getting in combat, be sure to make a break in the line so she can get in. Fight 6, 3 attacks, strength 4 is nothing to laugh at. She definitely will do good in combat. Not as well as your other heroes, but she will do well and is definitely helpful. Dane, just have him smash stuff up. Do be careful because he can end up out beyond the reaches of the rest of your army and can end up getting hurt that way. Gloin. Gloin is really good, but you have to keep in mind he's only 2 wounds, 1 fate. He might be defense 8, but he is 2 wounds, 1 fate. How I play him, if he has at least a couple might, even 1 might, I just piercing strike, piercing strike, piercing strike. I go into like 2, 3 enemies, have a spear support behind me, piercing strike, win the fight, go up, kill everyone. He is great at just gnawing through enemy forces and just butchering enemy heroes as well. The Rivendell Knight Captain, as I said, he's really good for utility. He can hit guys pretty hard with his lance. His Elvish Blade makes him really good for attacking heroes. I mean, if they're fight 6 or lower or whatnot, you can get him, a couple buddies in there, and just smash the enemy. The Rivendell Knights can also do this duty, coupled with another hero, as they also carry Elvish Blades and can use them in the fight. The Iron Hills Dwarves, as I said, your solid line. Get them into combat and get them killing stuff. But be careful not to overshoot and charge the enemy when it's completely unfavorable. If you have a large flank you're leaving open to the enemy, you're making a mistake. They could definitely die if your flanks are way too exposed. That's something that did happen to me. They'll kill lots of enemy models, but if your flanks are too exposed and they start getting around your back and just getting too many guys on your couple guys, you will not be able to beat them off enough. They will eventually go down. So you definitely need to watch out for that. The Rivendell Knights, be very careful of Sorceress Blasts, Hurls, Legolas. You can't do much about Legolas, but yeah, that's definitely something you need to keep track of. In the case of Galadriel's Fortify Spirit, it's really interesting when you channel it and when you don't. You obviously don't use it if your enemy doesn't have magic. But if they do, how do you know when to channel it and when not to? Well, pretty much what I have as a rule is if they have any caster, besides like shamans, just channel it on Dane Ironfoot. He needs to be killing stuff. He is your general. Then just do a regular one on everyone else. I mean, this is for people like Radagast, on Sway. If you're coming up against another Galadriel, if it's the immobilizing one. If you're coming up against Gandalf, and even some ring wraiths, that's actually the better option. Though, in ring wraiths case, you should always give her a channeled one. Have her channel it on herself first. That way the ring wraiths don't get a chance to sap her will and ruin the spell for the other heroes. If you're fighting someone like Saruman, then you have to choose. You probably want either your 3 combat heroes to do it, Galadriel, Gloin, and Dane, or Galadriel, Dane, and the Rivendell Knight Captain. If you're playing against Radagast on Eagle, you want to channel it on Dane and the Rivendell Knight Captain, and not the others, because they're mounted as well as, first off, Dane is your general, but the Rivendell Knight Captain is also going to be with the cavalry a lot, and you need to keep your cavalry safe from that kind of hero. So yeah, that's essentially what you do. There's a lot more in the actual gameplay, but this is essentially an overview and the basics of the tactics. So this army did do quite well at the tournament, well actually of the 4 people above me, 1 was Jake, and 2 were Devin and Cole, who I actually seem to have given their toughest win to them, so still didn't beat them, but I gave them a really hard game to both of them. So that is good, as well as the guy who got 3rd, Tim, with his Arad, I actually beat 12-1 in the first game, and he actually beat Jake in the last game. So if this army is utilized properly, it will grant its user victory. So be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Support your Hobbit hobby, and Akmenruki Astu. Thank you.